Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Coming up here in the not so distant future, we've got what could be the most crucial update for Battlefield 6 yet. Obviously, over the course of the past few weeks, really even the past few months now, we've seen Battlefield obviously launch to an extreme high and just absolutely take over the FPS scene for a little bit. And then it's slowly been dropping off and dropping off and dropping off, even through Season 1, which saw some pretty significant updates across the board, and also saw the drop of Red Sec Battle Royale as well. So coming up to their next major update, we've got Season 2. And with this, we already know a little bit about what to expect with the update in and of itself. We have this post from Temporal from a little while back that we've covered here a handful of times, referencing some of the leaked Season 2 content or Season 2 files that are referenced within the game itself, including a handful of new weapons, the MG5, the Bren 2, the Scorpion Evo, and the Scorpion VZ61. There's also the AH6 Little Bird. We've also had that directly mentioned from the devs themselves, teasing that. He references a jet ski for Season 3, then a couple of gadgets as well. So some standard seasonal content that we're basically going to expect every single season. We got some new weapons, some new vehicles, things of that nature. Unfortunately, what's not really referenced anywhere so far is maybe the most concerning and biggest issue that a lot of players have with Battlefield so far, and that is the maps. We don't really have any leaks for these. Now we have some context clues. They're going to add in an AH6 Little Bird. There's probably going to be that as a vehicle option on several of the maps, but maybe they feature some more, air vehicles in general maps, and there's, a space for that combat with some of the new Season 2 content. Then also the jet ski. This is presumably going to be featured in several new maps as well, and that's where you have room for more like water-based combat. They've already alluded to the fact that they are well aware that players want to see naval warfare and more water features on maps, which usually includes a larger play space, and that's been the big thing for a lot of players. As we'll see throughout this video, the general feedback with the community is, yeah, I mean, every map kind of plays relatively similar. You're getting a very similar engagement experience across the vast majority of the maps within Battlefield 6 here, whether you're playing Conquest or Breakthrough or really whatever else. Obviously, when you're focusing on like King of the Hill and Domination, it's extremely close quarters and a lot more fast paced, but really the engagements are not that different across the board with the assortment of maps that we've got so far, which is unfortunate because the unique experiences from map to map is kind of a major selling point for Battlefield. One game, you do have a hectic, chaotic, city-based gunfight, and you're, in and out of skyscrapers and in and out of buildings, like if you're playing on Manhattan Bridge or something. And then the next map, you're in a wide open area where there's tanks and there's jets flying overhead, and there's a ton of different combat availability, whether it's infantry, whether it's ground vehicles, air vehicles. Then the next map, you're in naval warfare, and then you have all these different experiences that make every single map feel very unique. That's not necessarily present, and that's something that certainly has been a major complaint and concern of the community here. And coming up with Season 2 now really should be a massive emphasis with this update. There are some concerns with that concept, though, personally, that I have that I do want to lay out, but also just the general feedback here from the community definitely lines up with, sort of the standpoint that I've broken down and explained here. For instance, on the Battlefield 6 subreddit, this same image from Temporal was posted with the Battlefield 6 Season 2 and 3 content header on here, saying it says they're basically going to add a single vehicle with every major update. For Blackwell, we got the armored truck. Eastwood, we got the golf cart. Now we're going to get the Little Bird, and Season 3 will be the first water-focused map with jet skis, so on and so forth. And the top reply here is actually ratioing the post itself, which is kind of funny. I don't really care about weapons. All I want is maps, maps, maps. I hope it's 2 bigger maps at the very least, another Eastwood sized map, and then 1 bigger one as well. Everyone is talking about how we need more maps and we need more large maps to have those defined, unique experiences. Another comment, maps, 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 maps. Anything else is irrelevant at the moment. Man, this game is gonna die quick if they don't start putting out maps. It's a main concern that the community has here. I saw this post from Enders just the other day on Twitter. Season 2 needs 2 banger maps. They really can't miss once because player sentiment has already fallen off a cliff. We've seen this player count has dropped to some of its lower numbers on Steam specifically over the course of the past few weeks, and that's not to say Battlefield 6 is dead or this game is severely underperforming. It's still, Steam being one of the smaller platforms for it, it's still holding hundreds of thousands, if not over 500,000 players daily, just based on the numbers being close to 100K on Steam. Like, that's not bad by any means, but it's really limiting its potential here by not having, the main community wants featured in a lot of the updates updates and a lot of the content so far, including launch with the base game. Westy ended up responding to this original tweet back from the holidays, and I'll be honest, I don't really have much of an urge to play Battlefield 6. Westy says, I played it yesterday and today for about 4 hours. The core gameplay is still fun, but I need bigger maps with more gameplay variety. This current focus on insanely short time to engagements leads to similar feelings despite having 11 maps. Exactly what I was saying earlier, and this is a sentiment that really seems to be, around a lot of places, is yeah, we have a bunch of different maps. We've got different themes and different styles with several of these maps, but the engagements and the way that they play are all very, very similar and sort of one-dimensional in that aspect. Season 2 needs to deliver something fresh. This is what is so crucial and what's so huge here. However, despite the desperate need for more maps in general and definitely more large play spaces in Battlefield 6, we also have to take into consideration the timeline of all of this and what this could mean for Season 2, unfortunately, and likely leans a lot more towards Season 3, at least in my own opinion. So obviously, it's not like they're still actively developing anything for Season 2. It's going to be dropping here in a few weeks' time. I think January 18th or somewhere around there is that countdown timer for the Battle Pass and for all the weekly challenges and everything, right? So mid-January, late January is when Season 2 is dropping. They've already got all that content done. That's content that's basically been done now for likely quite some time, maybe even pre-launch. All the Season 2 stuff was getting developed and getting finalized there. That means they're going off of their internal intuition and their internal design and wishes for that content, similar to what we saw for Season 1, where it's just what they had in mind, they threw it out there, then they get the feedback. Now they're seeing the feedback on the maps. Okay, we want more large maps. We want more maps per season, things of that nature. Well, if they're developing the Season 1 stuff pre-launch with minimal feedback, developing the Season 2 stuff pre-launch with minimal feedback, they don't necessarily have that stuff there to already know, okay, we need to put out more maps this season because that's what players are really wanting, more than just weapons or more than modes, or we need to focus on our large maps this season rather than some of the ones that'll also feature some domination and some King of the Hill parts to it, right? But if this stuff has already been set in stone, well, then we're not going to see a lot of the feedback from the community necessarily implemented and acted on in Season 2. And instead, a lot of that stuff might be deferred to Season 3, where they're still maybe working on some of that stuff and polishing some of that stuff now, or they can alter some plans and adjust things accordingly based off the feedback that they've seen for the past few months. So I do think that is something to keep in mind here, while we're hoping that Season 2 can be a big turning point here and get things back on track a little bit, since they have stumbled some since launch and since Season 1. There's also the larger timeline here that the studios can't just flip on a whim to, immediately react to that feedback in all areas necessarily. So Season 2 is going to be a massively, massively important update. Probably the most crucial update in Battlefield 6 yet. But it also might not be the one that ultimately answers a lot of our wishes, or grants a lot of our wishes, however you want to phrase it, right? And instead, that very well could be Season 3, or perhaps it's something that happens later on into Season 2 with like some of the mid-season updates. Time obviously will tell there. But of course, we're getting closer and closer to the actual launch of Season 2. Now we're approaching the final few weeks, or really in the final few weeks of Season 1 here. So we should see some official marketing start soon, some posts from Battlefield, maybe some trailers and some teasers here and there. We'll certainly be covering anything and everything that ends up coming out for Season 2, and really just everything going on in Battlefield in general. So if you want to stay up to date with all of that, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. And if you guys enjoyed this video, you want to get more attention on this topic, help share the video around, potentially get the right eyes on this so we can again emphasize how much we want more maps and more large maps in Battlefield 6. Do me a favor, drop a like on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.